Hello. I am just waiting for few people to join. Again, another Monday, and I'm back with my Monday tidbits. So, people, if you're joining live, then hello, good evening. Even if you're not joining live, if you're joining later, then a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time of the day you are joining this call. And today I'm taking this live from my hometown, that is Kolkata or Calcutta, as they say. Now, I have a very decent long run yesterday. I'm sure a lot of people also had a very good long run yesterday. And I hope everybody is having a good time on this Monday evening. Most of us must have taken a break, and a number of us will be starting the week tomorrow. The general environment is still not that great. We still see the war going on, and thankfully, we also see a lot of Indian students are coming back. That's a very good news. But we need to stop this war, man. Just need to stop this war. It is going too far. Well, coming back to running, and what I thought that I'll talk today is a little bit about the heart rate. Incidentally, today morning I met a very dear friend of mine and a great runner, and we are discussing about the same thing. And I always strongly feel that the two organs which play a very, very critical role when it comes to running, one is heart, another is mind. We'll talk about mind some other day. And obviously, that's my favorite part, where I talk about mindset and how to create a mindset. I thought that today let me talk about a little bit about whatever the knowledge I've gathered with regard to heart rate. Uh, when it comes to heart rate, one of the first things which, as a runner, as an athlete, as a runner, as a cyclist, as a you know, as a triathlete, swimmer, everybody should monitor is something called resting pulse rate or RPR. Resting pulse rate is the rate which you measure when you get up in the morning, but don't get out of your bed. Just before getting out of your bed, you are going to look at what is your pulse rate. It is more important to have a periodic measure of the resting pulse rate. Just one day's resting pulse rate doesn't mean anything. Because as you grow better as an athlete, as your cardiovascular capabilities improve, as you become a better athlete from a purely from a cardiovascular point of view, your heart rate is supposed to go down. The resting pulse rate is supposed to go down. What does that mean? In layman's term, the way I try to understand this is very simple. Lower resting pulse rate means the stroke, one stroke of the heart's muscle, more volume of blood goes throughout my body. Okay? And what does that mean? That means that my heart muscle are in a great condition. Okay? So resting pulse rate is important. Now, how do you going to measure? You can measure it using your mobile, you can measure using a government device. There are several other you know uh, we have got several other measuring equipments which we can use for this measurement of the resting pulse rate. Now, you need to monitor it almost regularly, and ideally you should see what is the average, because it's not that every day it will come same, every day it will be a very steady. That's almost nearly impossible, um, because our body behave differently in different condition, in different situation. So it will fluctuate, so don't worry about it. Look at what is the 7-day average, and whether that is coming down or not. If it is coming down, then it's great. If it's not, then it's bad. Also, what I personally monitor, if suddenly if I see my resting pulse rate goes up on one day, then I have to find out whether I had a bad sleep, whether I had a late night party and then came, or I am developing some kind of illness. I've typically seen my resting pulse rate goes up just before I catch a cold. um, so that's very very important for me. You guys can follow that. That can be a good indicator so that you can take prevention. If your stomach is upset, for the last 2 days you see the resting pulse goes up, and so on and so forth. Now that's not enough. What we also need to know, what is another important criteria, which is at the, if resting pulse rate is the beginning of heart rate monitoring, the end of the heart rate monitoring is something which we call recovery heart rate. That is also very very important. The recovery heart rate is the number of beats the heart rate is coming down once you are once you get into a steady state post exercise in every minute. So how much your heart rate is coming down per minute once you stop exercising. Again, that number will be very high for a great athlete. So a very good athlete will have a recovery heart rate which is pretty high. And we use the combination of resting pulse rate, recovery heart rate, age, etc., to find your heart rate zones. Now, there are a lot of views, there are a lot of debate about heart rate zone training. Uh, Everybody has their own views. I do have my own view. So, do I blindly follow something which a lot of people do, Mafitone? No. But what I follow is that when you are at the beginner stage, and rather, a lot of time I talked about the blocks of training that every individual who is thinking about having a healthy lifestyle, along with that he wants to run a marathon or ultra marathon, or regularly want to run throughout his life, then they need to follow a particular pattern of training. And in the particular pattern of training, there will be individual blocks of training. Okay. At the beginning of every block, I prefer to go for a little bit of heart rate based training. Why? Because I believe that that primes up your body, that brings you back into normalcy. All the corrections which you need to which you need to do with regard to your form, with regard to your breathing techniques, that is the time. That is the time when you will correct yourself. And once you're 3 week, 4 week, 5 week, depending on, or maybe 8 week, depending on your initial cardiovascular status, once you get in there, once you improve to a significant level, then you start doing the speed workouts. Okay, so during this period, you need to know what is the heart rate which you need to do, at which you should keep your runs. And I'm not getting into calculation. There are multiple calculations of heart rate zones. There are scientific methods through which there are different scientists has come up with the optimal heart rate zones. One common method which a lot of elite athletes use, something called MLSS, maximum lactate steady state. Mm, so if you are under a coach, you can ask the coach that what should be my ideal heart rate range, and during my heart rate based training, what should be my heart rate zones I should train in. Um, so so that that's predominantly what is the heart rate is all about. But linked to this, I also like to highlight another particular point which is very very interesting, and this is something which has always bothered me. I am running from maybe 2011, and I've seen in the last decade or a little bit more, a lot of athlete start showing PB at the very first year. No, PB in 5K, PB in 10K, PB in half, PB in full, PB. Just improving. Then one fine morning, boom, they are no longer there. 1 year, 1.5 year, they are very much there. Then they are suddenly evaporates. What happens? Why they suddenly go off? I actually tried to find out, and I actually did my little bit of research on talking to people, finding out the most common thing. What I've realized is nagging injury, and then try to correct that injury by themselves, and finally losing motivation and then stopped running. There is a correlation between having a nagging injury after 1.5 years. Your body is such that your cardiovascular endurance gets adapted much faster than your musculoskeletal endurance. So your body is meant in that manner. We are a product of nature, and nature is built in that manner that when we start running, when we start building our running career, when you starting initial days, you just run 2K, then slowly you went into 5K, then slowly you got into 10K. And the moment you're going from one after another, your heart is getting adapted to this torture very quickly, but not your musculoskeletal endurance. They take much more time. So, what is an ideal situation when you are doing this? They are taking a beating, and you are not realizing that. At some point of time, they're saying, "Oh, I give up." Your heart is ready to take on more, but your body, your muscles, the joints, the ligaments, the tendons are not in the state of taking any more torture. So they give up. The only way they give up when they say that, well, there is a pain, so that you cannot move. So what's the theory here? How we can avoid this? As we go up in the value chain of heart rate endurance, cardiovascular endurance, we also need to keep on building our muscular endurance. And the only way you can do that is by strength training. I am a classical example. I hate doing strength training. I hate going to gym. I don't like weights. I hate push-ups, pull-ups, and other things. But they are very much important. If you really want to grow as a runner, if you want to love running, if you want to continue running for years and years and years, if you really believe in the joy of running, and you are not running just to give a Facebook post or a IG update, then you need to build all these things. Because remember, as you increase your mileage, your heart rate quickly adapts that. Your heart is a fantastic organ, but your muscles also need equal attention. And the only way you can give attention to your muscle is by taking care of them. And it's not just, I just talked about strength, but it's not just strength training. It's strength training, it warming up, it cooling down, doing enough stretching, if required, taking massage, seeing a physical therapist, or as you call it, a physiotherapist, and taking care of your body adequately. This is very, 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 very important. So that is it for today. I always try to, my initial promise to myself that I will control myself on talking, and I will not go beyond 15 minutes. It's already 7:42, so we still have 3 minutes left. Uh, I have received few of the queries that when I'm going to do my next candid conversation. Well, I will certainly do my candid conversation very soon, but it may not be with a runner, or it may be with somebody else. I have got questions on nutrition. I have also got requests a little bit about the injury. So I am very actively looking at those two aspects, and I will hope that I'll be able to bring some knowledgeable person in my conversations and distribute the knowledge which they have gathered and they have imparted on me. Thank you very much for watching. And as usual, if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you have not liked the video for any particular reason, please provide the comment. Please provide the reasons in the comment box. If you find something which I have said which you believe is not right, please let me know that, so that I do my research more thoroughly. But obviously your claims has to be substantiated. um, do subscribe to my channel, press the bell icon, so that every time I come on live or I put any videos or any update, you guys come to know about that. Thank you very much, and you have a good evening and a great week ahead. See you. Bye bye.